was the issue that was all about. That was that one. First of all, with other ones, I tell you what, another union didn't like me because, quite honestly, I made their group of investigators work with another group of investigators because I knew that that would work better homicide cases. Well, so what had happened? Some of the people complained to the union. I cannot make every union happy, but let me tell you something. That's not my job to do that. My job, I work for the citizens of this community. And I'm going to do whatever it is that I believe is going to make help us to do the best job. And that's proved out. We've got great relationships with law enforcement. That's proven out by the jury trial conviction records. And one last thing on that particular part. We come up with these numbers that he's talking about. You know, it's really a simple deal. We tried last year, and when I say this is the boldest claim I've made, 94% conviction record in murder cases, and child abuse cases, and sex crimes cases.
Where do those numbers come from, though?
If you can produce other numbers, I mean, seriously.
No, where do those numbers come from?
Our office.
Those come from your office.
Present the number. Put up or shut up, David. I'm presenting. Here are the numbers right there. There's the case numbers. Here's the cases that we tried.
A document generated by your office, right?
Present me another one.
A document generated by your office.
Present me another one, David.
I'll give it
Here
to you.
is.
I got it in the truck.
Well, present it to these guys. Hey, let me tell you something. Just stop interrupting me. If you guys, let's just do this. If he can present other murder cases, other child abuse cases, and sex crimes cases that show that I have not, that are more beyond these that I've done right here, hey, bring it on. Present them right here. Put it on next week for all I care. We have got 64 cases that we tried, 60 cases that we won, 94% conviction rate. Put up or shut up. Show me the specific case numbers that we have not handled in the category of murder, child abuse, and sex crimes.
I'll show you. I'll bring it. I'll show you documents that came from an objective source.
Just show me the case numbers and the defendants.
I'm happy to do that. I'll even present these gentlemen with the documentation from the court administrator's office, not something my own staff worked up.
Hey, these are either the cases or they're not. I mean, these are the verdicts. These are the people showing up in court saying thumbs up, thumbs down.
Well, here's the problem with you put up or shut up. The problem is the numbers that you've got right here. I even went as far as going to the police departments and talked to them about the sex crimes case that they knew had gone to trial, the murder cases that they knew had gone to trial recently, and they're saying that's absolutely absurd. Your police officers are saying that's a lie.
No, the ones, I'm sorry, bring the cases that have gone to trial and which have been before a jury, because honest to goodness, here they are.
And I won't bring something that I just brought out of air.
Well, all right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're not going to agree on the numbers right now, apparently, but when we come back, we're going to have more of our spirited debate here with the two candidates for the Office of District Attorney here in the County of Oklahoma. We'll be right back with Wes Lane and David Prater. Don't go away. Welcome back to Flashpoint. Our guests are Oklahoma County DA Wes Lane and his opponent in this race, David Prater, a former assistant DA and now an attorney, and running against his old boss. Now, you worked in Wes's office for what, a year or
just about 6 months.
About 6 months.
That's correct.
Okay. And why did you leave?
I was terminated by Mr. Lane.
So we got a grudge battle going here?
No, absolutely not. If it were going to be a grudge battle, I would have run against him in 2002 when Mickey Holmesy did. Would have had a much better chance than he did.
Why'd you terminate him?
Well, you know, I tell you what, in my office I expect there to be a certain level of integrity. I think the public expects that. Mr. Prater did not match that, so he doesn't work for me any longer.
Well, that's absolutely not the truth. The truth is, Mr. Lane, up until about a week and a half ago, had never given anyone a reason as far as why my termination was, and ultimately, if you look at the timing, my wife, who worked for Channel 9 for almost 15 years, her news station outed Mr. Lane, Mr. Lane's wife, in her criminal investigation, and within days, I was terminated by Mr. Lane. You want to talk about him vindictive? That's vindictiveness. This isn't a grudge match. I've been contacted by too many people, and this is about what's best for Oklahoma County. It's not about something personal between me and Mr. Lane. It's about who can best serve the public, and that's me.
Well, first of all, that's complete nonsense. I mean, throwing my wife into this deal, or your wife for that matter. Let's get the women out of this. They had nothing to do with that. I let you go for the reasons that I said there. period. Don't try to use your wife as a shield or my wife as a target.
I'm not using your wife as a target. I never have. As a matter of fact, when people want to bring her up, I tell her she's absolutely not an issue. But when you
just brought her up.
when you throw up every time that I've been terminated or it comes up, and you give the reasons that you did, which you know are lies, and everyone in the courthouse knows a lie,
absolutely the truth.
I will tell them exactly what the timing is.
Folks,
Okay.
you believe what you need to believe.
Okay.
You do too.
Well, now, let's just say this. Attorneys are fighters, especially prosecutors, and that's
They
what
are.
you're seeing here. So we're going to move on to a different subject.
I want to talk about the future.
Okay.
What are you going to do in the next 4 years? What are you going to do in the next 4 years, in addition to what you've already done, to make Oklahoma County a safer place to live? I'm going to ask you the same thing.
Sure.
Well, the first thing I expect to do is to continue doing the great work that we're doing in this office. We've got a lot of very fine lawyers. We have 50 lawyers in that office that do very fine work. In fact, half of the lawyers that are in that office actually have more experience as an assistant district attorney than does Mr. Prater. We've got a great trial record. I expect us to continue that. But some of the things that I expect to also do, I expect to also ratchet up the elder fraud issues. This last year, I was the president of the District Attorneys Association. Done a lot of work to not only with the legislature to ratchet up the penalties that people who are being victimized by these senior predators, but I also expect to take that out on a statewide basis. Furthermore, we're really ratcheting up our victim services. But one of the biggest areas that we're dealing with is that we're just having a tremendous problem with our young lawyers being able to keep them. Whether it's me, whether it's Bob Ravitz, the public defender, whether it's Tim Harris up in Tulsa, it's actually a national problem being able to keep young lawyers working. I'm the vice president of the National District Attorneys Association right now. Let me tell you, we're actually going to Congress for seeking to get student loan forgiveness so that some of these kids who are coming out of law school with $100,000 plus loans can stay working in government service for a longer period than they've been doing.
What are your ideas for the future?
Well, I'll tell you, let me first address this exploitation of the elderly issue. My focus is going to be not just the financial, it's also going to be the physical exploitation of the elderly, and I believe that's where Mr. Lane has really dropped the ball. Adult Protective Services forward hundreds of confirmed physical abuse cases to Mr. Lane's office every year. Not one, I know of not one case where that has been forwarded to a law enforcement agency or for further investigation, or where Mr. Lane has in fact filed charges on those physical abuse cases that have come from the Adult Protective Services. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to reestablish the relationship that was once there between the DA's office and the police community. I'm going to reestablish the relationship between the victims advocate community and the DA's office that has been just completely torn apart. The victims in this community, the victims advocate community report to me that they no longer believe they have a say in this community in what goes on in their cases anymore. I'm going to establish, to lessen this backload, a criminal case mediation program that will allow input from victims, police officers, and then allow the criminal defense lawyer